All right, welcome to the New Equity Network show. I'm Michael Yorba, your host. Thanks for joining us, and my co-host Jared Fabriello. Jared, you made it back into the studio today. How are you?
I did. I'm great, Michael,
All
except for
right.
the weather.
Yeah, right. All right, thanks for being here. All right, first segment today, we are going to be talking to Mike Brady, General Manager, Tumbleweed Capital, and an old pal of mine, Michael Gilbert, Managing Partner at Tumbleweed Capital. All right, Mike Brady, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Michael.
All right, and Michael Gilbert, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for showing up.
I'm awesome. Good to see you. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has. All right, let me start off with you, Michael Brady, General Manager of Tumbleweed Capital. Give us a little background. Give our audience a little background on who you are and what you do at Tumbleweed Capital. A little background on you, and then we'll get into. I want to introduce Michael to the audience, and then we'll get into what does Tumbleweed Capital do. All right.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. So my background has focused almost my entire career on evaluating rehab and restoration projects on both commercial and residential buildings. And so we're looking at taking that experience and really growing it and evaluating some great residential properties.
All right, and Michael Gilbert, General Manager, Managing Partner of Tumbleweed Capital. We've known each other for a while. The audience doesn't know that, though. Give us your diverse background. You've got a lot of experience, and I want to bring that out. And then we'll get into what Tumbleweed Capital does.
Well, I used to tell people I carried bags of sugar through the forest because it was a lot easier to say that than try to give my background. But 30 years, 17 companies started, heavily involved in the startup community here in Dallas. Started 5 funds, private equity funds, and it's been a wild ride.
Yeah, to say the least. All right, let's get into this, Michael Brady. Why don't you, since you're the general manager, you're pretty much the hands-on guy there. What does Tumbleweed Capital do?
So Tumbleweed Capital is a private equity fund that will be lending money to real estate investors to purchase real estate properties, finish rehab on those properties, and then turn around and sell them for profit.
Okay. All right. Let's walk into that a little bit. Are they only rehab? Are they residential, multifamily, commercial? I mean, let's define that a little bit.
So most of the projects that we'll be looking at will be single-family residential properties. However, we do have the opportunity to look at multifamily, duplex, and even some commercial if the need arises.
Okay. All right. How are you different from other real estate funds?
Well, there's a lot of ways that you can differentiate yourself as a real estate fund. We're priding ourselves on our speed of processing loans to our borrowers. We're priding ourselves on our quality customer service, making sure that we're hands-on with each one of our borrowers as well as our investors. And then we're really looking at a fast turnaround. I'm not sure if I mentioned that yet. So
when you say fast turnaround, what do you mean?
Well, when a borrower comes to ask for a loan on a property, we'll be able to process that loan very quickly. We'll be able to underwrite it, process it, and bring that money to closing in 5 days.
All right, because of the funds in-house. You're not going out to banks, going through their processes. You're not going to family offices or anything of that nature. You've got your own fund that makes it much faster. Is that what I'm getting?
That's exactly right. So because this is a private equity, person-to-person loan is what it'll be considered. Even though the funds are coming from an investor and will be held in a fund, we'll be able to write checks very quickly as long as underwriting is taken care of.
Okay, well, but give me an idea what you think that the process. I've come to you with a property and I'm trying to get it funded. And are we talking like 6 months, 9 months, 30 days?
As far as how long the loan's for?
Funding, the funding process.
Okay, so the funding process will be very quick. When someone brings a property to us they're interested in buying,
yeah,
they'll have all the information that we'll need to perform our underwriting, and we will be able to close on that property in 5 days in most cases.
That's what I was wondering. 5 days. That's lightning speed.
That is lightning speed.
All right, Michael. And if you would come closer to the microphone so we can hear you better. A lot of people out there want to know about the risk. Is this fund safe? I mean, and that's a relative question, and it's a tough one. So answer that one, because you're pretty much the money guy.
Sure. And that's one of the questions we address early on in our marketing is Tumbleweed Capital, the fund safe.
Right.
And any investment that people put their money into is always considered high risk. The beauty of Tumbleweed Capital is we're backed by real estate. And since we are the first lien holder on the property, if the borrower defaults, we take control of the property. We foreclose on the property, and it protects our investors.
Okay, so you're always collateralizing it by being able to bring it. Jared's got a question for you.
Can you guys, in that same vein, tell us a little bit about your credit criteria and maybe the selection process for the homes? Because I think that goes towards the safety of the investor's investment.
Sure. I'll let Mike Brady kind of cover that. We do have some credit criteria.
So yes,
but I'll let
our
you cover that.
borrowers will be required to have a minimum FICO score of 675, but that's really not the key. The key is the property itself. So when the borrower brings a property to us, our underwriting will be able to loan on up to 80% of what we call the ARV, or the after repair value of the property. So that would allow the borrower to borrow the money to purchase the property and pay for the rehab with very little out-of-pocket expense.
Oh, that's great.
Okay, what are the criteria of the management team that you've got in place? Because I know Michael's got a lot of experience of putting money together, putting funds together, and you've got a lot of experience in the real estate industry. I think you had mentioned appraising and things of that nature, right?
I'm not actually an appraiser, but evaluating properties and understanding the rehab cost of them.
Okay. So,
So Michael Brady's experience over almost 20 years now of looking at properties himself and buying properties and flipping properties as well.
Right.
And I bought and flipped properties myself.
Okay.
Where we saw the opportunity really is around people that need money quickly, because the banks typically don't loan to investors, so they have to go out and borrow the money.
Right.
And that's where we come in. And to add to some of the criteria is we're really looking at the property itself. Mike Brady's experience in flipping houses, because he's done it for so much longer than I have, allows us to go in. He's got a complete process and a program, and we're actually looking at building a program later. But with his experience, we can actually pull the deal in, look at it, and know that this is something we want to put the fund's money behind.
okay.
Because typically the loans are, we do a maximum of 6 months, and then we call the note. But most of the guys that are flipping houses, we call them house recyclers. They are going to be in and out within usually 90 days or less.
Wow, that's really fast.
Which is really good for our investors, because we can turn, we can lend out more money a lot faster. We can hopefully turn the fund 2 to 3 times a year.
That's what I was going to go at. So you're going to be moving the money to a complete circle 2 to 3 times a year. All right, let's do this. Let's take a break. I've got a lot more questions about geographical location, things of that nature on the other side of this break. But before we do, contact information if somebody is looking to either know more about your fund or also has some property they want to talk to you about. Real quick.
You can find us at tumbleweedcap.com, and then you can also reach us at 817-381-6203.
All right, perfect. We'll be right back with Michael Brady, Michael Gilbert. You've been listening to Jared Fabriello and Michael Yorba on the New Equity Network Show. We'll be right back.